A couple of days ago, I asked you to give me some of the biggest myths and rumours about the FIFA Youth Academy that people have used to try and understand how it works. I got so many replies from this post, and so many good ideas that I've combined them all into this one video. If you think I've missed any big rumours that I should have tested, let me know in the comments and I might make a part 2. So let's start off with one of the biggest myths. Does Academy Scouts nationality actually matter when it comes to finding good players? Back in the day, there were messages inside the game saying that it absolutely did. You got a bonus star if you had a French scout in France. But does a French scout actually scout better French players than German scouts? Is it still the case on FC25? Well, let's have a look at some data. So, to figure out if Youth Scout Nation actually really matters, we have a new column here, which is the nationality of the scout that found the player, and then we also have the nation of the scouted player. So, this was a French scout in a French nation. Towards the bottom of the list here, we have German scouts in France, just to see if it actually makes any difference if the scout is French or German when finding French players. Okay, so this is the total overall rating for each of these players, and if we just change this to be an average rather than a total, we will find out that Germany and France have very similar overalls when it comes to finding young players. So the French guy is slightly above average, I guess, and the German guy is slightly below, but I think that's probably just going to be random deviations. Okay, so we've added overall on this column now, and this one is now potential, and you can see that there again is very little difference. The French scout finds players who are maybe slightly better on average than the German scout, and the French scout finds players who are maybe very slightly better on overall, but it's still only just above the average of every single player. So I don't think that there is any difference when it comes to picking a nation and picking a nationality of your youth scout. We can probably try this again with some more examples, maybe a bigger data set, and we might find a little bit more of a variance, but for this example, I don't think that it actually does matter even a tiny bit. So the nationality rumour is probably the most common myth in the game, but one I see a lot is that some nations are taller or stronger or faster than others. I guess it kind of does make sense, because the average Japanese player in the starting database is 1m78, while the average Serbian is 1m82. Is it still the case that scouted players have differences when it comes to their physical appearance? Well, let's find out. Okay, so to figure out the average height, we had to do a couple of different transformations. The first one was take the value here, which was 59, which is actually 5'9", and turn it into a more human readable number, which is in this column here, 5'9". And then to change this into something that's easier to average, we converted it to centimeters, so 5'9" is 175.26 centimeters. We then divided every single nation up into their individual columns, so we have Australia, Brazil, England, France, Trinidad, same as we were using before, and this is the average centimeters of every single player. So the average player in the database is almost exactly 1m70, and no nation really had any difference. Brazil was about 20mm behind that, whereas Australia was 4mm. So there's not actually a big variance when it comes to this, and that makes me think that every single nation on the game has basically the exact same average height, which is around 5'7", which I guess is about what it is in the actual database. Right, so now it's time to answer a really common rumour. How good can an academy player's value actually be? In the past, it was one of the best ways to find out if you had a hidden gem on your hands, so let's find out the max overall, the max potential, and the max value that the perfect youth player will have. We can actually find the overall pretty easily because we've already done a video where we found this out. All we have to do is sort a single column in our spreadsheet. Okay, we're back over in spreadsheet land right now, and if we go over to the column called overall, it's pretty easy just to sort it, and we can have a quick look at the range of the players here. So we found 3 players who were 72 overall, they all had an age of 17, and the best 16-year-old was only 70 overall, so I think that might be the max for 16-year-olds, so our player is probably going to be 17. Of course, in our experiment we can try and figure out how much age actually affects things and how much potential can affect things, but just for the overall rating, we're going to go with 72. So now we know the overall, value is kind of hard to work out. We know that age, potential, and overall all affect the value, as does the position the player's in. So let's try and figure out potential, and then use mods to create players in every position with every age group and see what we can find out. Again, potential is one of the easiest things we can find out, so let's have a look at the ranges that it can be. Okay, so to find the highest potential, we're going to do the same thing as before, just sort the potential column and have a look at what we find. So we actually did find two 16-year-olds with 99 potential. One was French, one was English. And we found a bunch of other players with 97, 98, a couple of 96s, and then the lower you get, the more common it is until you get into the 40s. So for a highest potential player, for this guy trying to find the highest value, we're going to go with 99 potential, which I know is possible, but also very, very rare. This is about 0.06% of players have this, so if you scout 6,000 players like I have, you might find 2, so 1 in every 3,000. Right, so now we can probably figure out the highest value possible. We know that our player will be 17 years old, we know they'll probably be a winger, but we'll test all the different positions, and we know what overall and potential they will have. So, to figure this out, we're using FIFA Live Editor, which lets you change basically every single stat that a player has. We have this one youth guy here called Joe Bennett, and what we're going to do is we're going to give him 72 in every stat, and then change his positions around, keep his potential the same, his overall the same, and see what his value does. So, every time we make a change, we have to go in and out of Squad Hub, which is a little bit annoying, but if we go down to Joe Bennett, there he is. We go over to the financial tab, we can see he has a value of $10 million. I think this is probably as high as this can go, to be honest. He was a left winger, which we already know is one of the most valuable positions on a football pitch. But while we have this guy open in Live Editor, let's see what happens if we give him 80 potential instead of 99. So again, we save the player, we go in and out of the development plan because that also refreshes his value. He has a value of $5 million as an 80 potential player. So you can see that extra 19 potential gives a huge difference when it comes to finding the player with the highest value. So we've already looked at left winger. Let's put him as a striker this time, back to 99 potential. So as a left winger, as a reminder, he had $10 million as a market value. And if we go in and out, sorry, not contract negotiation, development plan, go in and out of here, again, he's got a value of $10 million. It was at this point I started wondering what happens if we give him 1 potential. So this guy literally has potential to be worse than you or me, even if we were in a wheelchair and unable to breathe. So this guy with 1 potential now has a market value of $2.6 million. So that's still quite a high value. That's of course all coming from his overall and his age. Being a 72 rated 17-year-old, even though he had 1 potential, he was still more valuable than the majority of League 2 players. How much does age actually affect things though? If we make him 7 years older, will his value go down? Because you do see this in real life, like Ansu Fati was worth loads more as a 17-year-old than he is as a 22-year-old, and his value actually does go up as he got older. As a 24-year-old, with the exact same potential, the exact same overall, his player value is actually higher than he was when he was 17. I did the exact same experiment with every single position that you can see on the screen right now. So attacking midfielders were worth $10 million, while a centre-back was worth $9.5 million. So it seems like the attacking positions, wingers, strikers and attacking midfielders are valued higher than everyone else, and the best centre-back you can possibly get is $9.5 million. Like I said, all these players had 99 potential, they were all rated 72 overall, and that is the best value you can get in every single position. Right, so that's the answers to 3 of the most common myths that I see around the FIFA Youth Academy. It doesn't seem like academy nationality of the scout actually matters at all. It doesn't seem like any nation has taller players or smaller players, and the highest value player you can possibly get is $10 million. If you want to leave some comments below and ask me some questions that you want to know the answers to, make sure you do that right now. And if you want to thumbs up the ones you're really interested in as well, that'll help me find the very best questions to answer if I do a follow-up. But thank you so much for watching, really do appreciate it. Hope you had a really nice Christmas, and I'll see you soon for another video. Thanks and goodbye.